I stood at the end of the aisle, my heart racing beneath the lace of my wedding dress. The spring flowers surrounding me smelled like hope and new beginnings. Ethan waited at the altar, his eyes locked on mine, and I felt like the luckiest woman alive. "You look beautiful," my father whispered beside me. "I'm so happy, Dad." We started walking, and with each step, I replayed how Ethan and I met 2 years ago at Claire's party. He'd approached me with a nervous smile, spilling his drink slightly. "I'm Ethan," he'd said, "and I'm apparently very bad at first impressions." I'd laughed, and that was it. From that moment, I knew he was different kind, stable, successful, everything I'd dreamed of. Now, as I reached him, Ethan took my hands. His were warm and steady. "You're everything to me," he whispered. The ceremony blurred by. I said I do, with tears in my eyes. When we kissed, everyone cheered. It was perfect at the reception. Ryan approached us during the congratulations line. "My college ex-boy." Friend smiled warmly. "Congratulations, Maya." "Ethan, you're a lucky guy." "Thanks, man," Ethan replied, but his smile tightened. I noticed but brushed it off. Ryan and I had broken up 3 years ago, completely amicably. We'd stayed friends because we both believed mature adults could do that. I told Ethan about Ryan when we started dating. An ex-boyfriend. He'd asked carefully. It ended years ago. We're just friends now. Is that okay? He'd hesitated. I guess if it's really just friendship. I'd taken that as trust. Now, I realize it was uncertainty he was swallowing down. Later, as Ethan and I danced, Mrs. Anderson, his mother, watched us from her table. When I caught her eye, she didn't smile. Instead, she looked toward where Ryan stood chatting with other guests, then back at me with clear disapproval. "Your mom seems upset. I mentioned to Ethan. She'll warm up to you," he said, pulling me closer. "I love you, Maya. Nothing else matters." I believed him. I believed nothing could touch us. I believed I could have both my husband and my past without consequence. I was so terribly wrong. 3 weeks into married life, everything shattered. My phone rang while I was making dinner. Ryan's name flashed on the screen. "Hey," I answered. "Maya, I need to talk. Can we meet for coffee?" His voice sounded broken. "What's wrong? Emily broke up with me. I need a friend right now." My heart squeezed with sympathy. "Of course, I'll meet you at Café Luna in an hour." I told Ethan I was meeting an old friend. Not technically a lie, but not the full truth either. At the cafe, Ryan looked devastated. We talked for 2 hours about his heartbreak, his fears about being alone, his doubts about ever finding love. "Thank you for being here," he said, squeezing my hand. "You always understand me." When I got home, the apartment felt cold. Ethan sat on the couch, his posture rigid. "Where were you?" His voice was flat. "Coffee with a friend." "Which friend?" Something in his tone made me defensive. "Ryan, he's going through a breakup and needed support." Ethan's jaw clenched. "You met your ex-boyfriend, alone, and didn't tell me." "I just did tell you. After the fact, Maya." He stood up. "Do you not see how this looks? How what looks? I was being a good friend. You're not his friend anymore. You're my wife." His voice rose, something rare for calm, collected Ethan. "You're married now. Things are different. Ryan is just a friend." My voice matched his volume. "You're being unreasonable. This is jealousy. This is about respect." He ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. "Maya, I need you to understand something. Boundaries matter in marriage. Your friendship with Ryan makes me uncomfortable. So I should just abandon someone who needs help because you're insecure." His face fell. "Is that what you think this is?" We stood there, the silence heavy between us. Finally, he walked to our bedroom and closed the door quietly. That soft click hurt more than any slammed door. The next morning, Claire called. "David told me you and Ethan fought. About Ryan. Everyone's overreacting," I said, pouring coffee with shaking hands. "Maya, be careful." Claire's voice was gentle but firm. "Ryan isn't just your friend, he's your ex. Ethan has every right to feel uncomfortable. You too. I thought you'd understand. I understand you're a loyal person, but loyalty to the wrong people at the wrong time destroys the right things. Think about it. I hung up, frustrated. Why couldn't anyone see that I was just being a decent human being? Ethan was supposed to trust me. That's what marriage was about, wasn't it? I didn't realize then that trust without wisdom is just naivety wearing a wedding ring. Over the next month, Ryan kept calling. Each time, I told myself meeting him was harmless. Lunch today, he'd text. Sure, I'd reply. We'd go to the art gallery we loved in college, or grab sandwiches at our old spot downtown. Every time, I convinced myself I was just being supportive. He was going through a hard time. What kind of person would I be to abandon him? But every time I came home, Ethan grew quieter. The light in his eyes dimmed a little more each day. One evening, Mrs. Anderson came for dinner. I'd made her favorite pot roast, hoping to win her over. This is lovely, Maya, she said, but her tone suggested otherwise. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Please call me Margaret. She paused. I saw you at the gallery last week with a young man. My stomach dropped. That was Ryan, an old friend, an old boyfriend, I heard. Her eyes were cold. A married woman should prioritize her husband, not running around with old flames. Margaret, Ethan started, but she continued. What would people think, Ethan? Your wife meeting another man while you're at work. My face burned. I'm not doing anything wrong. After she left, I confronted Ethan in the kitchen. Are you telling your mother about our private issues? He slumped against the counter, looking exhausted. I mentioned I was worried. She saw you herself, Maya. So now I'm being spied on. Maya, everyone can see what's happening except you. His voice cracked. You're choosing Ryan over me, over us. That's not true. I love you more than anything. Then show me. He looked at me with such pain. Please just show me. But I couldn't see past my own stubbornness. Actions speak louder than words, and my actions were screaming that Ryan mattered more than Ethan's feelings. At David's birthday party that weekend, David pulled me aside in the kitchen. Maya, I'm saying this as someone who cares about both of you. What you're doing isn't fair. Not you two. Yes, me too. His expression was serious. Imagine if Ethan was constantly meeting his ex-girlfriend, taking her to places special to them, comforting her while you sat home alone. How would you feel? The question hit something deep inside me, but I pushed it away. It's not the same, isn't it? David shook his head. He's my best friend, Maya. I've never seen him this hurt. And the worst part, you can't even see what you're doing to him. That night, lying in bed next to Ethan's turned back, I felt something crack in my chest. But pride is a powerful anesthetic. It numbed the warning bells ringing in my head. The rain pounded against my windshield as I drove to Ryan's apartment. He'd called that afternoon, asking for help sorting through old college boxes. I'm finally putting the past away, he'd said. Thought you might want to see some of the photos before I toss them. It seemed innocent enough, nostalgic even. But when I walked into his apartment, something felt off immediately. The lights were dimmed. Soft music played the same playlist from our college days. Wine glasses sat on the coffee table. Like old times, Ryan said, smiling in a way that suddenly seemed calculated rather than friendly. We sat on the floor with the boxes. Every photo he pulled out was of us kissing at the beach, wrapped in each other's arms at parties, looking at each other with young love. Remember our first kiss? He asked, holding up a photo. Behind the library during finals week. Ryan, that was a long time ago. Remember when we drove to the coast? You said you'd never been happier. I shifted uncomfortably. We were kids. Remember how we talked about getting married someday? Ryan. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if we hadn't broken up? His eyes locked on mine. If you'd chosen me instead of him. I stood up immediately, my heart hammering. Ryan, I'm married. I love Ethan. Whatever we had is in the past. He laughed, but it was bitter and sharp. Is it? Then why do you keep coming back to me? Why do you choose to spend time with me despite knowing it hurts him? The words slapped me across the face. I was trying to be your friend. He stood too, moving closer. Friends don't look at each other the way you look at me sometimes. Friends don't have the kind of history we have. Stop, this is wrong. Is it? He reached for my face. Is it wrong, or are you just scared to admit you made a mistake marrying him? Before I could process what was happening, he tried to kiss me. I pushed him away hard, stumbling backward. Don't you ever, my voice shook. I can't believe I trusted you. You did more than trust me, Maya. You chose me over your husband again and again. You can be angry, but we both know the truth. I ran. Out of his apartment, down the stairs into the rain. In my car, shaking, the reality crashed over me like a wave. Ryan had never wanted to be just my friend. He'd been manipulating me from the start. Every call, every meet-up, every sad story, calculated moves to destroy my marriage. And I'd let him. When I got home, soaked and trembling, Ethan was waiting in the living room. One look at my face, and he stood up. What did he do? Ethan, what did he do? His voice was tight with controlled anger. I told him everything. The wine, the music, the photos, the questions, the attempted kiss. The words tumbled out between sobs. He tried to kiss you, Ethan repeated, his face pale. I pushed him away. I ran. I would never, Maya. He cut me off, and the disappointment in his voice was worse than any anger. I warned you, everyone warned you, but you chose to trust him over us. I didn't know, yes you did. He walked past me toward the bedroom. Deep down you knew, you just didn't want to admit I was right. That night, he didn't sleep in our bed. And I lay there alone, finally understanding what I'd done. Ethan moved to the guest room. We spoke only when necessary. Coffee's ready. I'll be late tonight. Mail came. Every word was a knife. Every silence was worse. I tried everything. I apologized until my voice went hoarse. I explained, justified, begged. I blocked Ryan on everything: phone, social media, email, but Ethan's trust was shattered. One night, I found him sitting in the dark living room. Ethan, please talk to me. What do you want me to say, Maya? His voice was hollow. That you forgive me, that we can fix this. It's not just about Ryan anymore. He finally looked at me. It's about you not respecting our marriage, not listening to me, not setting boundaries. I told you how I felt, and you dismissed me over and over again. I know, I was so wrong, but I love you. I know you do. But love isn't enough when respect is gone. The next day, I found a marriage counselor. Dr. Harper agreed to see us immediately. Our second session destroyed me. I want to introduce a concept, doctor. Harper said gently, emotional affair, but I started. Even without physical intimacy, Maya, you were investing emotional energy into another man. You were meeting his emotional needs, sharing intimate moments, prioritizing his feelings over your husband's. That's a form of infidelity. The room spun. No, I was just being a friend. You were being more than a friend. She continued. You were giving him pieces of yourself that belonged in your marriage. Ethan sat beside me, tears streaming down his face. I feel like I lost my wife. He whispered. The woman I married wouldn't have done this to us. I wanted to argue, but every word Dr. Harper said was true. I'd been so focused on proving I hadn't physically cheated that I never considered the emotional betrayal. Later that week, Claire called. I need to tell you something. She sounded uncomfortable. Ryan's been bragging to mutual friends about how you still came running whenever he called. How he knew he still had power over you. My stomach turned. He what? He was using you, Maya, to boost his ego, to feel superior to Ethan. And everyone knew except you. I hung up and threw up in the bathroom. My humiliation was complete. That night, I sat across from Ethan at dinner. A dinner I'd cooked, that neither of us touched. He was using me the whole time. I said quietly, I know. Everyone knew. Yes. Why didn't you just force me to stop seeing him? Ethan's laugh was sad, because I shouldn't have to force my wife to respect our marriage. You should have wanted to. The truth of that statement broke something fundamental inside me. I cut Ryan out completely, but the damage was irreversible. Ethan continued counseling sessions, but I could see him emotionally checking out. He started working longer hours. David mentioned he seemed happier at the office than at home. That knowledge gutted me. One evening, I met my father for dinner. Dad had always been my rock, but I'd been too ashamed to tell him what happened. Dad, I ruined my marriage. I told him everything. He listened quietly, his expression growing sadder with each word. Maya, he finally said, when you marry someone, you make a choice every day to honor that commitment. You chose wrong too many times. I know. How do I fix it? Can you? He looked at me with such sadness. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed. Only replaced. His words haunted me. Around this time, Claire told me Ryan had gotten back together with Jessica, the girl he'd supposedly been heartbroken over. She had no idea about his manipulation. Part of me wanted to warn her, but what right did I have? I'd allowed myself to be manipulated. That was my failure. At our next counseling session, Dr. Harper turned to Ethan. Do you want to save this marriage? The silence stretched so long, I felt my heart stop. Ethan stared at his hands, his wedding ring catching the light. I don't know if I can trust her again, he finally said, and without trust. What do we have? Those words echoed in my mind for days. I destroyed the foundation of our marriage with my naivety and stubbornness. One night, unable to sleep, I walked through our apartment. Every corner held memories, the couch where we'd watched movies cuddled together, the kitchen where he'd taught me to make his grandmother's pasta, the window where we'd watched the sunrise on our first morning, and husband and wife. Now it all felt like a museum of what I'd destroyed. David stopped by one afternoon while Ethan was at work. How is he? I asked desperately. David hesitated. Honestly, he's lighter when he's not here. He laughs at work. He's making plans with friends. He's moving on. We're still married. Are you, though? David's question was gentle but cut deep, because from where I'm standing, this marriage ended the day you chose Ryan over him for the 100th time. After he left, I collapsed on the floor and cried until I had nothing left. 3 months after the incident with Ryan, Ethan asked me to sit down at our dining table. My hands trembled. This table had witnessed so much: birthday celebrations, anniversary dinners, lazy Sunday breakfasts. Now it would witness our end. Maya, I've been thinking a lot, he began, his voice gentle but distant. Okay? My voice was barely a whisper. I know you're sorry. I know you've cut Ryan out. I can see you're trying. He paused. But every time I look at you, I remember the months of feeling unheard, dismissed and replaced. I remember coming home to an empty house because you were with him. I remember lying awake at night, wondering if I was crazy for feeling hurt. Tears streamed down my face. Ethan, please. I'll spend the rest of my life making this right. I was so stupid, so blind. But I love you. Only you. He reached across the table and held my hand. For a moment, hope flickered in my chest. Then he spoke again, and that hope died. I love you too. But love isn't enough when respect and trust are gone. I deserve to be with someone who prioritizes me without question, who doesn't need to lose me to understand my value. Please don't give up on us. I'm not giving up, Maya. I'm choosing myself. Finally, the next week, I saw him at a cafe with Sarah, a colleague from his office. They were laughing, really laughing, in a way Ethan hadn't laughed with me in months. She touched his arm, and he didn't pull away. I sat in my car across the street, watching through tears, feeling physically ill. Clara found me there an hour later. Maya, what are you doing? Is he moving on? I asked, my voice breaking. She climbed into the passenger seat and hugged me. He's trying to remember what it feels like to be chosen first. That night, Ethan came home late. He looked at me with sadness and finality. I think we need to separate for a while. I need space to figure out if I can truly forgive this. or if we're just prolonging the inevitable. No, please, Maya, this isn't working. We're just hurting each other more every day. With shaking hands, I packed his bag. Each item I folded felt like packing away pieces of my heart, his favorite shirt, the cologne I'd bought him, the book on his nightstand, and he took the bag, paused at the door, then left without looking back. The house became a tomb. I wandered through rooms filled with ghosts of us, painting these walls together. Dancing in this kitchen, making love in that bedroom. Now it was just me and the ruins of what we'd been. I curled up on our bed, my bed now, and screamed into the pillow until my throat was raw. 6 months have passed. Ethan moved out, and we're not officially divorced, but we're not really married either. We exist in painful limbo. He's been seeing Sarah. I know because mutual friends try to hide it but fail. They're not hiding it themselves, though Ethan's respectful enough not to flaunt it. He seems happy. Clara told me last week, trying to be gentle, lighter, more like himself. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in the ruins of what I destroyed. I see Dr. Morrison now for individual therapy. She's helping me understand why I couldn't let go of Ryan, why I needed his validation even after finding real love. Unfinished business, she explained. You never properly closed that chapter, so it bled into your new one. I wrote Ethan a letter, not asking for another chance. I know better now, but apologizing fully, taking complete responsibility. His response came a week later. Maya, I hope you find happiness. I hope you learn from this and become the partner someone else deserves. But I can't be that person. You taught me that I deserve to be someone's first choice, not their eventual realization. Take care of yourself. Ethan, I read it until the paper wore thin from my tears. Last week, I saw them at Marino's, the Italian place Ethan and I loved. They sat at a corner table, our table. Sarah wore a ring on her right hand, not an engagement ring, but a promise ring. The way he looked at her, with complete trust and openness, shattered me. That used to be us. I left before they could see me and drove home. Through tears, now I sit alone in our house, my house. Every room whispers accusations. The kitchen where I should have stayed instead of running to Ryan. The living room where Ethan tried to tell me I was wrong. The bedroom where our marriage died slowly, night by silent night. I finally understand what everyone tried to tell me. Marriage isn't just about love. It's about choice, respect, boundaries, and priorities. I had all of that with Ethan, a man who loved me completely, who would have given me everything, and I threw it away for a ghost from my past. Ryan, he's irrelevant now. Off living his life, probably manipulating someone else. The real tragedy isn't what he did, it's what I allowed, what I ignored, what I sacrificed for someone who never deserved my loyalty. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some words can't be unsaid. Some trust, once broken, can never be fully repaired. I lost Ethan forever the moment I chose to trust my past over protecting my future. And I only have myself to blame.